So before we get to the results today, I'm just going to update you on a few changes that we are making to the FMU League's competition. We are going to, the core structure is not changing. There's nothing so massive changing that it's going to completely change it. But there are some changes that are going to hopefully improve both fairness and flexibility. I think some people, particularly some people who struggle to meet deadlines, are going to really like this change. I hope anyway. I'm going to get into detail on that. Before I do, I just want to mention the FMUL Asman bot you may have noticed in the last 24 hours or so. We've got a new bot programmed. The idea of it is that it will send reminders that previously were given to you by admins. Obviously, admins may still chase you if it gets very close to deadlines, but primarily it will be the bot. It will be the primary source of reminders. So keep an eye out for that, because they're there for a reason, to remind you to keep playing and so on. If you get to sort of Wednesday in the in seasons 1 or 3 and you haven't started yet, probably needs to get a move on. The bot will give you a little push in that direction. So just be aware of it, play with it, like use it, etc., etc. You may even want to. I don't know if you can set sort of special reminders for when that one posts or something. I'm not sure, but either way, it's something that's very, very useful, and it means that the admins can be a little less annoying now. So we won't be chasing you as much. Doesn't mean we never will, but we won't be chasing you as much. Right, the next thing is a little more complicated, and it's a change to our point system. So let me just change this to this. I just need to add in display capture. There we go. So this is the new points matrix spreadsheet. The points matrix has changed a little bit. The most important changes actually come in the spreadsheet though. So I just need to make sure I'm going to get everything into this. As you can see, I've got a speech prepared. So basically the board and fan confidence metric has been reduced by about half. It's only approximate because it doesn't always go exactly half, but as you can see here, the points available here are roughly halved. They are going to be replaced, those 25 points, by a new metric for performance, and it's based on this little figure here. It's called a points wage multiplier. So I've been spending a lot of time on it. It's what I've been asking for information, data on, and so on and so on. The idea of it is that it will evaluate your performance based on the points accumulated relative to your wage budget in the league. So what you do is you put in your wage bill, which you find from the league table screen. I'll come back to that. Okay, and you also put in the total number of points that you got. The league-specific multiplier, which will be different for every league, because that's where it has to work, because the salaries are massively different in different leagues, obviously. But the point is, it will give you a score between 1 and 25. It's capped at 25, so no matter how well you do, you can't get more than that. The good thing is you don't have to work it out. The spreadsheet will do it for you. So, for example, let's imagine that you're in Serie A. You're spending, what's a roughly average Serie A wage bill? Maybe 52 million. Okay, and you get, let's say, 70 points. That would give you 4 points. That's obviously not very good. So let's take this down to 32. Okay, it'll give you 7 points. The idea is, as I say, I don't know exactly what the average is in Serie A, but apparently it's about that. The idea of it is that you will get 10 points if you do as expected. Okay, so if you do what is expected for your wage budget, you will get 10 points. As I say, this will all be worked out by the spreadsheet. You don't have to do any working out at all. The only thing you need to do is put in your league points, your salary per annum. This blue box will automatically give you your points, and that will also be added to your orange box, which is your total points. The only thing you need to do in terms of screenshots is to put in your little thing from the screen that I'm going to show you in a minute, okay, which just shows you your annual salary. Okay, so you can see here, the example I've got, 13th Sunderland, 89.16 million. Obviously, in Italy, it'll be a bit lower probably, but that's the only screenshot you need for that. Obviously, the screenshot for the league points is provided up here anyway, so you don't need to be doing anything extra for that. So the idea of this is that it rewards teams for efficient management and effective use of their wage budget, because I don't know if you know this, but there is a ridiculously strong correlation between the wages that Premier League clubs in particular, but it's still true in most leagues, but the wages that Premier League clubs pay their players, specifically about players, and the number of points they get. Usually it's more league position than points, but it's just easier to do it by points. So basically, if you get what we would expect you to get for the league, then you will get 10 points. If you get a bit more, then you'll get maybe 15. It's a maximum of 25. So no matter how well you do, even if you're spending sort of, I don't know, 1 million a season, let's say, which in Serie A is ridiculous, it will be capped at 25. So in theory, the calculation probably gives you quite a high score here. Might have been in the hundreds even, I'm not sure. But it will be capped at 25. This, again, spreadsheet will do that. It will never let this number here go above 25. Okay, so you don't have to do any working out. All you need to do is put in the league points and your salary per annum. I will show you on FM shortly where you get that information. That it needs to be from one specific screen because that's the one that the calculation is made from, and I think it's slightly different if you take it from your club information screen. So it must be from that place. Well, yes, Connor. Well, bear in mind though, if you're spending like Man City and winning the league, then you'll still get, okay, maybe not Man City, but if you're spending a lot, then you. And the other thing as well, of course, is that if you spend money, you'll get points elsewhere. This is just one metric. So some people might choose to spend money like Man City so that they can win the league, and yeah, okay, it means that they'll only get maybe 1 point down here. You can't get negative points, by the way, but they'll get 50 points up here, so it doesn't really matter. It's just another way of winning points, and it replaces half of the confidence points just because we felt that, although I like it as an idea, I think the board and fan confidence is kind of broken, and I just wanted to make it less important. I felt it was way too important given that it's probably broken. So this is just to replace some of that, and it's a nice way of just doing that. Took me I'm still probably going to still need to do it over the weekend, I think, but I've been working so blooming hard at getting these multipliers right. It might be a little bit iffy at first. It's fair for everyone, so it doesn't really matter massively. But some of these points wage multipliers might be a bit wrong. And it might mean that the points that you get are a little bit lower or higher than you should get. I can't promise, but I'll do my very best. And goodness me, it's been a lot of work. Frankie will tell you as well. Between the two of us, we have done a huge amount of work in the last week, just at trying to get that together. Just so you know, in fact, I'm going to show it to you. This is the spreadsheet that we used. I mean, look, it broke my head. It broke ChatGPT. It broke Gemini. It broke everyone. Like nothing can process this data like the way we need it to. But this is what we had to do, and we had to do this all manually. And the idea was that the average needed to be 10 every time. That's why this purple number kept changing as we got closer and closer to it. Now we're at a point now we've got a lot of data for some of the leagues, not for all of them, but for some of them. And we're relatively confident about anything that's sort of 6 or 7 or more iterations. We're pretty confident. The ones with really low ones, like Northern Ireland, for example, we're only doing it to 2 decimal places. So we're pretty confident the Northern Ireland one is fine because when you put it to 0.09 and you can see it's massive. So as I say, the data is not going to be perfect. There's nothing I can do about that. Correction, there's nothing I can do about that now. There may be in the future. But there's nothing I can do about it right now. Anyway, sorry, I need the points template again. Where's it gone? There we go. So yeah, that is the main information that you need. As I say, if you finish where you were expected to finish, or roughly the points you're expected to finish based on your wage budget, you'll get 10 points. Anything better, you'll score more. Anything less, and you will score less. All the other points are staying the same. So the only changes are the confidence points and this new metric of the points wage multiplier. The multiplier for the new metric is always going to be in a purple box. The placing of it will change slightly because it depends on the previous things. We want to keep it largely the same, but there will probably be a few places where it needs to be kind of a little bit weird. So you might, for example, see it sort of down here sometimes. You might see it over here. There's all sorts of different places it might be. It's just wherever we can fit it. So just look out for the thing. I mean, look, it doesn't really matter. It's mainly there for the spreadsheet, but it will give you an idea of what's expected there. Because of this, and because it's less important, we've now decided that the fan confidence and the board confidence can be taken at the end of the season. So there's no longer a requirement to take the fan confidence at the start of the next season as of next edition. Obviously for this edition we don't have to do that for season 4 anyway, so basically you have just done your last time of taking fan confidence at the start of the next season. I hope you'll be really happy with that. Okay, so that's really good news, I think, for some of you. So every single one of these screenshots, and therefore every single one of the points, will be taken after the final competitive match of the season. So it'll either be the last league match or a cup final probably. But after the last match of the season, you need all of these screenshots, all of these points get taken together, and then you can send in your points to your admin. So hopefully, exactly, Bale. That's another reason why we did this. Hopefully, this will streamline the process a bit. It means all your screenshots can be taken on the same in-game date and therefore at the same time, and it just makes it that little bit easier. There's another bit that Bale's going to love even more than that. Previously, obviously, we required you to get to the end of the summer transfer window and take a final screenshot, the fan confidence points, before the next season started. However, that is no longer the case as of next edition. I mean, actually, it's no longer the case anyway because you don't have to do it for the fourth season anyway. But it's not the case anymore. You can either finish the season and submit and then just wait, or you can finish the season, submit, and then play the summer. You can choose when you play it. You can play it before the deadline or after the deadline. The only thing you have to do is to make sure that you get to the start of the next season and no further by the rewind. The only thing you have to do is not start the actual league season. You mustn't start the next league season before the deadline. You don't have to get to the start of it. You don't have to do anything other than finish the previous season and not start the next one. So you can do it whenever you want. The points taken at the end of the season, but you can start whenever you want going through that summer season. Okay, you can decide your playing schedule just before and just after the deadline. I hope that flexibility will make things a lot easier for some of you, those people particularly who just give it another few seconds. We're back. Fantastic. So, as I say, it gives you the flexibility to decide your playing schedule just before and just after. As long as you finish the season before the deadline, and as long as you don't start the next one until afterwards, you can do whatever you want within that. Okay, and so hopefully it will allow players to be a little bit more consistent in your submissions. There won't be any massive last-minute rushes. I mean, there still might be, of course, if you don't actually get the season done, but there won't be a last-minute rush just to work through the summer transfer window. And I know that causes real problems in terms of you want time sometimes to work through it. You can do that now whenever you want. So that is the kind of the thinking behind the removal of the requirement to get through to the end of the summer window. I think that's all the information that I have to give you now. And it's just occurred to me that I meant to do this afterwards, but never mind. Hopefully, I mean, are there any questions, I suppose, is the next question I have for you? Are there any questions?